Hello and welcome to Laker Connections on WTOP 10. I'm Ben Grieco and Cole Parzik is back by my side. Cole, how was opening day in Cincinnati?
Pretty electric, Ben. Got the win and a good start to the season.
Definitely. And how about back local, Oswego State? How's the men's lacrosse team doing?
Well, they started off last week's schedule with a 9-5 road win over Utica on Wednesday. Utica jumped out to an early 3-1 lead, but the Lakers stormed back, scoring 6 unanswered goals in the second half. Dan Doolin led the way for head coach Drew Bezik's team with 3 goals. Bobby Emerson scored 2 of his own, adding to his team leading 18 goals.
And in their most recent game, the Lakers suffered their second loss of the season to the nationally ranked St. Lawrence University by a score of 15-4. Tim Schaaf opened up scoring for the game, giving Oswego State the 1-0 lead, but it was all St. Lawrence after that. The Lakers were held scoreless in the second quarter and only scored 1 goal in both the third and fourth quarters. Evan Holfelder led the Oswego State with 1 goal and 1 assist, with Kevin O'Donnell stopping 14 shots. Oswego State's next game will come on Saturday as they travel to the college at Brockport for their conference opener.
Oswego State and Brockport doing battle in SUNYAC women's lacrosse action last Wednesday as well. The Lakers trying to start off conference play with a 2-0 record and snap a mini 2-game losing streak to the Golden Eagles. But early, the Lakers can't complete a clearing attempt. They were 14 for 23 in attempts during this one. And the first time, Nikki Nolan intercepts, and Sarah Grapevine is able to get the feed and beat Eliana Sanchez, who was left out to dry. 3-0 Brockport leads. But now in the first half, Lakers trying to put their foot down. It's Bridget Regan ducking, spinning, firing, and scores. And they cut in the lead 3-1 Brockport still, but 7-3 now. Allison Jennings gets loose in front, and this time it's Grapevine making the crisp feed out front to give Brockport a 5-goal lead, and some more troubles on the turnovers. This time it's Sanchez, the goaltender, turns it over, feed to Allison Kirsten. It's all academic from there. 11-3 Brockport. Heather Conklin still piling it on, 15-6 late. She spins, goes to the middle, drops the ball, still able to find the back of the cage, and it's 16-9 at that point, and the Lakers fall 16-9, and they were outshot 24-14 to fall to 1-1 in their early SUNYAC schedule.
And following the loss to the Golden Eagles, the Lakers took one more setback against SUNY Cortland on Saturday, 18-10. The Red Dragons set the tone early, scoring the first 7 goals of the game before the Lakers finally got 2 back. Tony Leneve had 2 goals and 1 assist, while Bridget Regan registered a hat trick to lead Oswego State. Eliana Sanchez made 10 saves in net. Oswego State now falls to 4-3 and 1-2 in the SUNYAC. The Lakers will look to bounce back on Saturday against Potsdam as they host the Bears at Lakers Turf Stadium.
After a weekend off due to weather, the softball team was back in action, this time at home across campus. And this doubleheader was all Oswego State. They took game 1 10-2 after falling behind 2-0. But a 7-run third inning proved to be the difference for the Lakers, where Rebecca Vilches hit her first dinger of the season, a grand slam. Oswego State started off game 2 with a 4 spot in the bottom of the first, but after that it was all zeros across the board. Brianna Harrington went 6 innings, allowing just 5 hits and 1 walk for the Lakers.
And now switching over to the Laker baseball field, Oswego State shut out SUNY New Paltz on March 29th by a score of 7-0, and after only 6 innings, the Lakers are up 2-0, but the bats would wake up, though, as Oswego State posted a 5-run 9th inning to back their strong pitching. Paul Tamaro went 3 for 5 with 1 RBI while scoring 2 runs himself. The starting pitcher Nick DeMauro went 7 innings, allowing just 4 hits, striking out 4 as well. Jake Terrell recorded the 2-inning save with 2 strikeouts to secure the win for the Lakers.
And Coach Landers and company made it 5 straight wins for the baseball team and a season series sweep over New Paltz after taking both ends of the doubleheader on Saturday. Matt Bowman went the full 7 innings to earn his second win of the season, allowing no runs on 5 hits. Ryan Enos led the way at the dish for Oswego State. He drove in 2 runs on a 2-for-4 day during the 6-0 win over New Paltz. In the 9-inning game of the day, the Lakers sent Brian Nolan to the mound. The senior went 6 full innings in the win, striking out 5. He did allow 2 earned runs, which were the first 2 runs the Lakers allowed all series. Oswego State was off to a 4-2 lead in the 3rd inning before a crooked number in the 5th gave the Lakers enough of a cushion before winning 12-2 to wrap up the season series against the Hawks.
Despite the winning streak, however, the Lakers could not keep it going after suffering a 6-5 walk-off loss to Ithaca College earlier today. Oswego State led 5-4 heading into the bottom of the 9th inning, but after a double and a single from the Bombers with only 1 out in the inning, a wild pitch led to the tie game at 5. Then after a sacrifice fly, the Bombers' Matt Carey was able to advance from third base to home to seal the win for the Bombers. For the Lakers, Mike Delacari went 2 for 4 with a walk, and Ryan Enos went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Jake Terrell was starting on the mound today, pitching 5 innings, but Kieran Finnegan was given the loss after pitching 3.2 innings with 6 strikeouts, and Oswego State's next game is Wednesday against St. Lawrence University at the Laker baseball field.
We'll step aside for a short break. On the other side, Luke Owens will join Ben Grieco for a sit-down to talk some D3 baseball.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion. Learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
It's back and better than ever. One student can win up to $25 in cash. All on Oswego's favorite game show, Spin to Win! Every Sunday night at 9, only on WTOP 10 TV.
And welcome back to Laker Connections. I'm joined now by Luke Owens, one of the baseball writers for the Oswegonian. Thanks, Luke, for coming on to the show.
Yeah, no problem, Ben. It's an honor to be here tonight.
I don't know how much of an honor, but we'll get started.
I'm happy you referred to me as a writer. I feel very honored coming from you.
I'm glad. So first off, Luke, the Lakers are coming off a sweep against SUNY New Paltz and are currently on they were on a 5-game win streak, I should say, before losing to Ithaca College today. So, in general, what have you seen from this team early on to lead such a dominance in conference as well?
Yeah, it's been interesting because in conference they played really well, but outside of conference they've struggled a little bit. 4-5 in the non-conference, and coming up they have a few non-conference games. They play St. Lawrence, as we'll see on the full screen. They play St. John Fisher twice. They play Canton twice, and they play Clarkson twice. So those are non-league games that are going to be really big for the Lakers because they've definitely struggled a bit. We saw it today against Ithaca, a late blown lead. That's a non-conference game. You've got to win those games.
St. John is also definitely a tough team to face. I remember last year, toward the end of the season, they were right up there in the regionals as well, so definitely something to look out for. And we talked about it last week on the show. Obviously, you weren't here, but the contact hitting, it seems to be the key for Oswego, but they only have 7 home runs in 18 games. Lucas Olson has 3 of them. They're 5th in hits, they're 3rd in doubles, tied for 1st in triples, all in the SUNYAC, 2nd in batting average. Does this lack of home runs concern you?
It doesn't concern me too much, and it's funny that we talk about it today when the Lakers went out and hit 2 home runs on the road. But, you know, it's cold out. The ball doesn't travel as well. I wouldn't be too worried. They're still looking good in terms of extra base hits, 3rd in doubles within the conference, and I think they'll be okay. Look for those numbers to jump up a little bit as it gets warmer out. And you mentioned Lucas Olson. He has been an absolute beast, both behind the plate and in front of it, hitting those bombs. So we saw it today. Delicari hitting that home run, his 2nd of the year. He's hit 15 the past 2 years, so I think we should see a ramped-up production in terms of home runs.
And now switching over to the mound, what have you seen? Last year they lost Robert Donnelly and Reston Pettit, probably 2 of the the number 1 and number 2 easily. Even Coach Landers said that during the season preview, where he said, we lost our 1 and 2. We're not really sure how they're going to do, who's going to. But he said they're deep, pitching staff-wise. So who do you think maybe Matt Bowman, Mike DeSalvo. Who do you think is taking charge of the mound, and what have you seen that might be different compared to last season?
Yeah, you mentioned Matt Bowman. He's had a great year this year, 2-1 with a 1.96 ERA, 21 strikeouts to just 9 walks. And another guy that you didn't mention is Nick DeMarco, a senior, 3-1, 1.38 ERA, 26 strikeouts to just 7 walks. Has a little bit of trouble giving up the home run. He's given up 2 this season. But what I really like about this Lakers pitching staff, you talk about the turnover going from last year to this year, but they still have those veteran guys like Brian Nolan. That's 3 senior leaders at the top of your pitching rotation, and that's what you want for another deep run. And just looking at this pitching staff as a whole, 3.78 ERA, 125 strikeouts, and a batting average against of 230. And you look at that, I mean, just looking in comparison to last year, the ERA was a little bit lower as a team, but they did walk a few more batters, and there was a higher batting average against. So, we talk about they did lose some pieces, but they've got the people to fill it in. They have those veteran leaders at the top of the rotation, and I think that's going to be the difference between how far they go this year.
You talked about already. Mike Delacari had a good game today, hit the home run. He's been strong really his entire career up to this point. But as well as emerging players like Rocco Leone, he's played more games than he has in his entire career this season alone. He's Laker Athlete of the Week this past week. You talked about Lucas Olson a little bit. Last season they had 369 runs, 462 hits, and a 464 slugging percentage. Do they do better than last season, or do you think it's right about the same?
It might be right about the same, maybe a little bit less of offensive production from this Lakers team, just because, when your pitching is so dominant, you might not need to score as many runs. You might get a little bit comfortable. But some of those guys you mentioned, I mean, you talk about this Lakers lineup, they're just so good top to bottom, hitting 293 as a team, getting on base 41% of the time. And if you're in the SUNYAC conference, you don't want to face these guys. I mean, they're 8-1 in conference this year. They've just been so electric going against SUNY opponents.
And I think another guy, too, that I avoided to mention was Paul Tamaro. He's been really strong as a freshman as well, really leading that lineup, especially today.
Yeah, the leadoff hitter, always important. And you mentioned a guy like Rocco Leone. He's been huge, obviously. 4 for 7 in his last 2 games, 2 runs and an RBI, Laker Athlete of the Week. Wanted to give a quick shout-out to another guy that graduated from Liverpool High School.
They're everywhere in Oswego State. You got Stephen Kozakowski on the men's team. You got you got Rocco Leone. My gosh, Liverpool's just taken over.
We are.
All right, so prediction time, though. Last season, they were the underdogs against SUNY Cortland and ended up taking home the SUNYAC championship over the Red Dragons. They made it to the NCAA Regional. They made it to the College World Series, but they didn't win a single game of the World Series. They went 30-14 in the regular season. Do they improve their record? Do they make it back to the World Series? Do they get their first College World Series win?
You know what? I'll make it short, sweet, and to the point, Ben. This Lakers team will make it back to the College World Series, and they will win at least 1 game. I think their pitching is that good, and their lineup is that deep. I think they win a College World Series game. Getting past Cortland will be tough in terms of the SUNYAC. I think they win a game in the College World Series. I'll hang my hat on it.
Hang your hat. All right, well, thanks for coming on, Luke. When we come back, though, Cole and I will be discussing the rest of the men's lacrosse season. Don't go away. You're watching Laker Connections on WTOP 10.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I'm a lot more confident and a lot more sure of my abilities. At Oswego is where I really found myself and became the person I am.
You work hard and you play hard. I love the environment of SUNY Oswego.
Alexander, David Richey. I mean, they were. Do you think Bryce Harvey, Tommy John survivor, Nathan Eovaldi?
Welcome back to Laker Connections. The Oswego State men's lacrosse team seems to start every season as of late on the right foot, but they have not had a winning season in SUNYAC play since 2009. Ben, do you think this is the season that trend finally is changed?
You know, Cole, I really think it does. We're going to talk about it a little later, but Kevin O'Donnell, he's been key his freshman year and now his sophomore year. So I think that's been a key part. I'll wait to get into the big statistics when we talk about him later. But right now he's only allowing 8 goals per game. Hockey, awful. Lacrosse, great stat to have. But, you know, you got other guys like Bobby Emerson. You got Dan Doolin. Bobby Emerson has 18 goals. Doolin has 10 goals. Really up there. A lot of widespread offense, 6 players into double digits for points. And, you know, so, you know, from the looks of things, a pretty disciplined team. Top guy only has 5 penalties.
Yeah, they were 3-3 last year in the SUNYAC. They finally got into that that last spot in the SUNYAC playoffs. Did lose to Cortland in the first round, but they're at least trending in the right direction under head coach Drew Bezic. And some of the,
I mean, if you look at their record too, they're at I had it from the first 5 seasons, and you look at the screen now. 2015, 4-3, 2016, 2017, both losing, but they're on an upswing. 2018, 6-1. This year, 5-2. So I mean, it fell a little bit from last year, but a great upswing under Bezic.
And you have guys on your roster, too. You talked about some of the upperclassmen, but the younger guys, freshman Weston Gray leads the team in shooting percentage at 40.9. He's got 11 points. Brian Rowe, another reliable midfielder, and he's a guy who's got 3 goals as well as a sophomore, so he has 1 season under his belt. But those young guys mixed in with the upperclassmen, I think, can sort of rejuvenate this team and give them that extra boost. But you know, a big part of the success, Ben, has been their goaltending. And Kevin O'Donnell, will he be able to keep up this level of play through the conference schedule?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you're looking at now 7 games played, 62 goals allowed, and 90 saves. SUNYAC Sports doesn't have it completely updated where it only has up till his 5th game. But at the time, he was undefeated. He was 5-0. He was first in saves. He was save percentage, first in goals allowed with 31, best goals against average. He was the only undefeated goaltender at the time. So I think really the big part of him now, he was SUNYAC defenseman or rookie of the year last year. He's already been SUNYAC defenseman of the twice this season and for weekly awards. So I think the biggest thing for him is just getting past the freshman jitters now. His first year obviously very strong, but now it's getting to the point where, you know, I'm a sophomore now. Maybe I'm expected to be a leader because I was a starter last year. He's the only one that's played for the Lakers now. And, you know, I'm assuming he fell down a little bit after playing against nationally ranked St. Lawrence, but as a sophomore, being a starter on a really up there conference in the SUNYAC for lacrosse, that's going to be a big accomplishment for him.
Yeah, for sure. And it's going to be tough because, like you said, that game against St. Lawrence, number 18 team in the nation, how much can you really judge off of a game like that? Because we know Oswego State's not within the top 25. They're not a ranked team yet. They could be in a couple of seasons. But losing a game like that where it really wasn't too close, do you think that does anything to the Lakers' psyche?
I think it gives them a measuring stick almost, where you're looking at it like, all right, we lost 15-4 to St. Lawrence. Let's get there. Now we know where we stand up against these other SUNYAC teams that aren't up there with St. Lawrence, but there still might be a little better to Oswego State and maybe make that push toward the end of the season.
Good points, Ben. Lakers Showdown is coming up next, so keep it locked on WTOP 10.
Hey, President Stanley, what's your favorite television station?
I don't know. Hey, guys, what do you think?
WTOP!
My family and friends are always with me, no matter where I may be. Sharing stories from home helps me sustain my recovery from my mental and substance use disorder.
Hi, sweetheart.
Join the Voices for Recovery. Our families, our stories, our recovery.
For confidential information on mental and substance use disorders, including prevention and treatment referral for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Total, Baldwin faces 32 charges.
Saturday, I went to Woodchuck Saloon.
Too much temperature change.
1310 meteorologist.
2 as well. Visions from Tanner Smith.
Go to 2-1.
2 with 6 and 10 on the year.
It's back and better than ever. One student can win up to $25 in cash. All on Oswego's favorite game show, Spin to Win! Every Sunday night at 9, only on WTOP 10 TV.
Welcome back to Laker Connections. I'm Aaron Valentino. After claiming my first victory last week, I've decided to retire undefeated and let you guys do.
18-year-old retiring, everyone. 18 years old.
And let you guys duke it out once again.
Yeah,
Cole,
you're right. That is the goal.
Cole, it's good to have you back. Let's get right into it. We talked about the men's lacrosse team's defense a lot earlier in the show, and while it's been impressive, the offense has kind of flown under the radar a little bit. They are currently second in the SUNYAC in goals per game with 11. Can the offense keep scoring at the rate they're at?
Yeah, you're right. The defense and O'Donnell's been the talk of the town pretty much, but I say yes, absolutely. This team can continue the offense that they had last year. 10.4 goals per game. That's second in the conference behind the powerhouse Cortland Red Dragons. Their shooting percentage is the one thing I want to look at. I thought maybe it was a little inflated this year. When you look at Weston Gray, he leads the team around 40%. You think that's going to drop down a little bit, but they were at 24.6 last year. Shooting percentage as a team. They're at 23.1 this year. I think that trend's going to buck up a little bit. I think their offense is going to get rolling. And in SUNYAC play, I think this is where these upperclassmen, they've been around that schedule at least 2 times or third, fourth time around.
The big thing is you're focusing on these. I agree. The scoring is going to continue. Don't get me wrong. But you're focusing on these younger players that have only seen the SUNYAC once, maybe twice, maybe not at all.
No, I just said that upperclassmen.
You're like Western Gray.
Western Gray shooting percent 40.9%. Yes, but I said the upperclassmen. If you listen to what I said, Ben, your ears, those are what they're for on the side of your head. You use your ears. Upperclassmen, at least their second, third time around now on this schedule. They're going to be seeing it. They're going to be accustomed. They know how physical those games are, and I think they're poised to not even score 10.4 goals. Again, I think they could eclipse that and have 11 plus.
I think the big thing is that, yeah, their offense is good. And I'm going to completely go against the question here and say, look, Kevin O'Donnell, he's the reason they can score 10.4 and be perfectly fine. So I think, it's going to stay good. It's going to stay up there. But Kevin O'Donnell is the reason why they can score 10 points. Obviously, I'm a hockey guy where, if you score 3 goals, you're probably fine. But 10.4 in lacrosse, you're around that same average. You're not scoring St. Lawrence where they're scoring 15 goals a game on average.
So I talk about Weston Gray too much, but you talked about Kevin O'Donnell about 12 times.
Listen,
Kevin
time's up.
Kevin O'Donnell.
Listen, I am giving this point to Cole.
Yeah.
Ben, I think this offense is gonna, continue to play great.
Yeah, do the money thing.
You
brought
up Kevin O'Donnell, who's the defensive player. I'm going with Cole here at 1 point for Cole.
Hey,
next
goalies
question.
can score goals too.
Let's move on to the next question, please. With the Oswego State softball team sitting 6 games under 500 and starting SUNYAC play this Friday, which player needs to set up? Ben, we're gonna start with you.
Thank God I can use the first breath. Angela Frampton, 100%. Where she was the player that me at the Oswegonian we highlighted last year. Huge transfer from Corning Community College, one of the top transfers in the nation. She was at around a 374 batting average, second on the team right behind Rebecca Vilches, second hits, first in home runs. After the season, she was second team All-SUNYAC. She was in the all-region team for the National Fast Pitch Coach Association. That's a big mouthful, but that means it's got to be good, right?
Yeah.
She's not batting 727. She's batting 226.
Can we just cut them off?
No. 226, 7 hits, 1 home run.
I don't know where
six best offense categorized.
All right, but listen,
Rebecca Vilches pitching only 18 innings.
Hey. We don't got the timer up there anymore, but we got to let Cole.
Rebecca Vilches, it's the only correct answer. She was the pitcher.
How is that
and
the only correct
She was
answer?
the pitcher and player of the year last year in the SUNYAC. Also a first-team member. She was batting sub 200 coming into today.
Okay,
and
wait,
you see the results they get when she performs at the dish, hitting her first Grand Slam.
But what if Angela Frampton got up there well? If
This
they're
is
both
also their
playing,
ace pitcher. You're going to be, if you're in a playoff scenario, you need Rebecca Vilches to win you a
Frampton's
game.
pitching more than Vilches.
Vilches is their best hitter. She was pitcher of the year last year. When it comes down to it,
She
Vilches
just
will be
got
sent
up
out
there,
there to
though.
a rubber.
You need someone to be consistent. I don't think
Vilches will.
I don't think either. I'm going to be honest. Neither player has been consistent, but Frampton's going to be the key.
I got to give this one to Ben. He's brought us a couple points. He had a little bit of a disadvantage there with the 727 on the graphic. He brought up the good points there. We're tied.
She doesn't have a 727.
Well, I'm agreeing. I just defended you. Don't make me give this point to
it
Cole.
sounded like you're going against me. I'm sorry.
Let's relax here. Let's get to the third and final question. I'm really excited about this one. It's NCAA annual Division III week, and Oswego coaches will see what a day in the life is like of one of their students' athletes. Out of the coaches participating, which will have the most difficult time in class? I think we're going to have those coaches up on the screen.
Let's give them the graphic
second.
first. Give them a couple seconds to look at the classes. It's a big deal. I was actually surprised at the diversity. I don't know about you, Cole.
To be honest, I mean, I don't even know.
I don't know what half these classes are.
Yeah, I don't know what some of these classes are.
I didn't know these were majors.
Some of these classes.
Didn't know intro to mass media?
Okay, I took that, but you know what I mean.
Come on,
okay,
in technology
computer science
110.
445, macroeconomics,
macroeconomics.
What?
That's a.
Can we start
okay,
debating?
Anyway,
all right, start debating. Here we go.
Dan Kane, physics lab. That crap is the hardest thing I've heard of. My roommate's takes a physics lab right now. He is stressed out of his mind every time he's okay, but unlegitimately, astronomy with 100 Scott Landers, that class was hard as.
No way. I took astronomy and I got an A in it. It was a 9 a.m. class.
Ben, you want to share your astronomy grade with us?
I don't want to share my grade in that class anymore.
All right, well.
Let's just say, Cole, it started with the first letter of your first name.
All right. First of all, Cedric Hansen and Ed Gosick are attending Computer Science 445. Not only is Cedric Hansen probably the smartest kid on this campus, Gosick, no fault to him. He's a great guy. He's probably the most computer illiterate person on this campus. I have to work with him.
You're very
in
true.
my internship.
Yeah, that's very
He
right.
doesn't do much on the computer side. It's all Coach Digby, all Coach Whitelaw, myself.
I love watching him text during our interviews.
Texting, he gets confused when people text him sometimes. I've heard him. Love the
But
guy.
I think, no,
he's
but
not going to be
Kane
able
in
to handle.
physics.
He's not going to be able to handle. He took physics in high school. You're going
You
to
don't
take
have to
computer
take it.
science.
You know what I wanted to see?
That's a good point.
I wanted to see Diane Dillon take a class with Kate Randazzo in her biology classes because she's up there in
You
there
take
too.
biology in high school too.
Not like the advanced biology, but it's Dan Kane 100%.
If you take a class with a 4 in the front, you already know it's going to be a tough time.
How do you know that physics lab is
All
over
right,
400?
time is up. We only have a few more minutes left. Both were really solid arguments. I gotta go with Ed Gosick, 445.
I can't argue that one. Ed is.
You do
Coach
you do bring up a good point with the physics. I probably would have failed physics.
I didn't
if
take
had
physics in
taken
high
it.
school, so that's
But
probably part of it.
That's all the time we have for tonight of Lakers Showdown. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, for your weekly dose of Oswego State athletics. For Cole Parzik and Ben Greco, I'm Aaron Valentino. Have a great night, everybody.
Lost again.
Nice.
That was solid. I think that's our best debate yet.
100%.
Pretty good today. Pretty good.
Yeah, I thought he called a pretty fair game. Come on, man. That was a weak call.
Yeah, man. That ref is totally soft.
All right, crew. Let's get started. All right.
Don't
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.